What's up, everybody, and welcome. How y'all doing? We are going to dive into the Nintendo Direct, the aftermath, and where we kind of stand with the system, with the games we're getting. We're going to look at all of that. I wanted to give myself a few days to kind of digest the Direct, go through everything, look at the interviews that have come out. Those were released today, so we'll kind of go over a couple of points with those as well, and kind of give my thoughts. So we're just gonna dive into this. All right, first thing I want to look at is what we're actually getting with the Switch. And I know there's a lot of comments about the price and is it justified and what are we really looking at here. So I want to compare this to what we got with the OLED and the Switch. And I have all the specs in front of me, so we're just going to go on through. So with the Switch 2, we have the price tag of $450. The OLED was $380 and the Switch was $300. We're getting a pricier system, but that also comes with the hardware that is going into it and what we're actually getting out of the system, right? I expected this to be a $400 system. Now, I was $50 off, and I may be more off than that once the tariffs in the US are a thing and they get evaluated by Nintendo. But we'll talk about all that too. The CPU GPU for the Switch 2 is a custom NVIDIA. And then for the OLED in the Switch, it was a custom Tegra. Now, this is a huge improvement for the Switch 2. It allows these bigger games to come over. It allows so many things. It's a huge graphics improvement. Storage is 256 gigabytes. For the OLED, it was 64 gigs. And for the Switch, it was 32 gigs. We're getting 6 or 8 times the memory with this. And I was extremely pleased with this. The battery life is not as long on the Switch 2 as it was with the Switch and the OLED. I'm okay with that. I normally play in tabletop mode. We have a Switch 1, which we can use for trips and car rides and all of that. This wasn't a huge deal breaker for me. It kind of made sense once we saw the games that were coming over. Higher GPU, bigger games, battery's not going to last quite as long. We're getting 4K dock, up to 4K. Now, does that mean every game is going to run at 4K? No, it's not. But we're getting up to 4K. And that blew me out of the water. The fact that Nintendo took so much care into the system that we get up to 4K now. With the OLED and the Switch, we had HD 1920 by 1080p. The max frame rate for the Switch 2 is 120 FPS, and this also blew me out of the water. I was expecting a steady 60 FPS. I just wanted Korok Force not to lag, guys. And then with the OLED and the Switch, we had the max of 60. We have HDR and VDR support. It's huge. We didn't have that with OLED and Switch. We have a bigger screen. We have a 7.9-inch screen with the Switch 2, and Nintendo was already leading up to the bigger screen. The OLED was 7.0, and the Switch was 6.2. It's a little heavier at 401 grams. And then we have 2 USB ports now. You can charge in tabletop mode, guys. Not something we could do before. So I was happy for those little improvements. In addition to these specs, we're getting mouse mode. We're getting game chat, which has been really pushed by Nintendo. We're getting a better kickstand. We're getting ventilation in the dock, which is something they have learned from other systems where they have had trouble with ventilation. And Nintendo preemptively put this in. They have essentially rebuilt this system from the ground up. And I was so happy with what we got. Bearing all of that in mind, a $450 price tag is not awful. It's about what I expected. It's up there with PlayStation and Xbox. I expected that. I mean, PlayStation 5 was what? Right around 400. Um, More than that if you got the one with the where you could insert the physical discs, which is what I have. We paid all that during a pandemic. This isn't awful. Um, but that price could change in the US. Because with the new tariffs that President Trump put into effect or announced the day of the Nintendo Switch. And this was just awful luck for Nintendo. Um, and out of the press releases, Doug Bowser said this. He said that US tariffs were not factored into the $449.99 price of the Nintendo Switch. They factored in the tariffs that were currently in place. Yes. But they did not factor in the tariffs that President Trump announced the same day as this direct. So Nintendo kind of got backed into a corner where they had to pause pre-orders in the US, reevaluate, let things kind of settle for a minute, and see if they are going to raise the price for the US or if they're going to swallow it as a company. Things are about to get interesting because Nintendo's not going to be the only one that feels this. It's going to be PlayStation. It's going to be Xbox. It's going to be every import that comes into the United States. Cost of living for us here in the US is about to go through the roof with these tariffs if they stay. He went on to say, quote, "The news is fresh, the tariffs. And like many companies, right now, we are actively assessing what the impact may be." So they're looking at it, they're assessing it, and they're going to come to a point where they have to make that decision because they're going to have to get information out to the retailers just in case they have to change their signage in their stores and all of that. So we should have an answer from Nintendo soon. This was a very Nintendo trying to stay out of politics answer, and a very business answer from Doug Bowser, and it's kind of what I expect. But it also tells me that they did not anticipate the tariffs being as much as they were with this direct, with the pricing of the Nintendo Switch too. This is very much Nintendo trying to stay out of politics, and this is very much them looking at the US. And the US is one of their biggest markets, if not the biggest market, for them. So they're looking at that, evaluating the tariffs, and going from there. And that's all I'm going to say on the politics side of this. A lot of us very much want to keep politics out of gaming. Unfortunately, it's very much in the forefront right now. So I'm going to take that cap off and we're going to move on. I know a lot of the controversy has also been the price of games. Um, Mario Kart was priced at $80, but that's not the standard. Donkey Kong Bonanza is priced at 70, as well as a few others. They're kind of they're not all one price. Um, and Doug Bowser also said this about the price of games. He said, "quote What you see there is variable pricing. We'll look at each game, the breadth, the depth of the gameplay, if you will, and the durability over time and the repeatability of gameplay experiences. Those are all factors, and there's many more that go into consideration of what is the right price point for the game. So I think you can anticipate that there will be variable pricing, and we haven't set a benchmark." So this says $80 is not the standard, right? But what's the low end, right? We're not going to see a set price for games for Nintendo for the Switch 2. It looks like they're going to be kind of all over the place. It's not going to be like every game is $60 like it was with the Switch, or every game is going to be $70. But there's no high point and there's no low point here. We see Mario Kart at 80, but what's the bottom end, right? So we're just gonna have to write it, see what happens. It looks like a lot of the other games are sitting around $60-$70 from what I've seen on the Switch for the Switch 2. Like I said, Donkey Kong 70. And I have a feeling that the rest of them will probably stay around that price point. Now, with all that being said, I think that the price for this system for what we're getting, and this exceeded my expectations, is fair. I think that it's the correct price. Um, and I'm very happy with what we are getting with the system. That being said, people are going to complain about this price all the way to the store, but they're going to buy it. I mean, yes, Mario Kart's $80, but you can offset that by getting the bundle at $500. You're saving $30 on Mario Kart. And that's what I plan to do. But let's move away from that. And I want to talk about the games that are coming. We're getting a lot of games with this, and I am thrilled. All right, let's start with Mario Kart. Guys, this game looks amazing. The visuals are great. And it's so vast. And I can't wait to dive into this game. You get 24 racers. You can do so many things here. There's boats, there's snowmobiles, there's airplanes, there's grinding, there's wall jumping, there's interlacing tracks. You can drive from one track to the other. There's 3 different modes. There's Grand Prix, there's Knockout, there's Free Roam, which in one shape or form makes this an open world Mario Kart, which I'm excited for, guys. You can even be the cow. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be playing the cow. Um, this trailer blew me away, and Mario Kart does not do that because I am not a Mario Kart person. My kids are. I am not. My 15-year-old has beaten every single Mario track and championed it for Mario Kart Deluxe, including the DLC track. So I'm excited to get this into their hands, and I think the $80 price point is fair for this. But it looks amazing. You get the wonder element as well, where you can change different attributes of the characters. It looks like you can change costumes, but oh, the visuals on this, guys, I am excited. You get day and night cycles, you get weather conditions, you get all of those things in this. And there's going to be a treehouse on April 17th where they're going to have more information. Like I said, I'm not excited for Mario Kart very often. It's a racing game, but I'm excited for this one, and I kind of want to dive into it and see what it has to offer. And like I said, this is going to be day one for me with the bundle, so I'm going to be doing it. I think the knockout tour and driving from one end of the world to the other is a great concept. And I think this could be good with the game chat feature that's coming in. And that's another thing I really didn't talk about. Nintendo's really pushing the game chat and game share, which I'm kind of excited for game share. Game chat, not so much, but it could be good for your younger generations who don't have Discord. And I know a lot of us have Discord at this point, but a lot of your younger kids don't, and some of your older generation does not. So this is a good compromise and an all-around thing. But I want to move into the types of games we get. So we're getting 3 types of games here. We're getting the Switch 2 games. We can play backward compatible Switch 1 games, and then we are getting Switch 2 editions. And the Switch 2 editions is where I want to go next. Alright, guys, so in the Switch 2 editions, we are getting Super Mario Party Jamboree with a new TV episode, and it's incorporating mouse mode. It's incorporating the microphone that's now built into Switch 2. It's taking all of those features and giving you a new experience. Also incorporating the camera, which I think could be great fun here with your family. We don't own Mario Party Jamboree, but I think this is a great use of the camera and mouse mode and all of those things. This is like Monopoly in my house. We don't play it. We get brutal with it. We just don't touch it. So if you own these games, you just have to buy the upgrade, which I think is only going to be like $10, if that. And I'm not sure if with Mario Party Jamboree, if it's going to be available with NSO. It is possible. I only know of 2 it's available for, and we'll get into those in a minute. But I think this is great. And I think that this is the type of game that like the camera and the mouse controllers are made for. Alright, so the next two games we're getting are Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I expected Tears of the Kingdom. I did not expect Breath of the Wild here. I expected Tears of the Kingdom to be a Switch 1 and Switch 2 edition with how late it came out in the life cycle of the Switch. These games look amazing, guys. They're vibrant. The load times are faster. It doesn't look like Core Force lags anymore. And I have seen some of the gameplay come out from outlets like IGN and Nintendo Life, and they look amazing. How these games should have looked on the Switch 1. But we didn't have the FPS. We didn't have the frame rate to support it. We're getting a second save file. I'm all for that. I accidentally deleted my save file for Breath of the Wild because I wanted to start a new game and didn't realize that I was erasing my data. We're also getting Zelda Notes. Now, this is a part of the Switch 2 app. And it incorporates things like GPS for if you're looking for Koroks or shrines. And if you were like me with Breath of the Wild and you had your web browser on your computer or your phone up with some kind of map, or even a YouTube video trying to figure out where these shrines were or these Koroks and you still couldn't find them, here's your answer. I think this is a great addition. It even tells you if it's above you, if a Korok is above you. I love it. There's a couple other things we're getting here. We're getting the ability to share creation. So we're getting voice memories in both Breath of the Wild and in Tears of the Kingdom. And these carry so much more sustenance to the story and to the world, and they're voiced by the characters. And this gives me another reason to go exploring Hyrule. It gives me another reason to restart these games for these memories. And I love it so much. I wish we would have had it in the base game, but I'm so happy we're getting it now. Oh, I can't get over these graphics. Anyway, but they are in the depths. They are in the surface. They are in the sky. Like I said, we can share auto building now. This is something that fans have asked for. And now we can do it. And I love it. Makes it easier for us to get our creations to each other. We can also share items, share weapons. There's achievements. There's achievements on this. On both of these, for both of these games on the app. And I actually love that aspect because it gives you, for these two games in particular, it gives you another reason to go hunting Hinoxes or completion. I was blown away by this. Once we got into the treehouse and we actually started seeing what this app was capable of and what we were able to do with it, I loved it. I loved it. I don't think it I don't know if it should necessarily be locked behind an app, but I'm glad that we're getting it nonetheless. We're also getting Photo Studio. Like, this is an extra thing, I guess. But you can add stickers, add QR codes, add the logo to pictures and send them. this isn't a feature that I'm going to use, but whatever. You can track your gameplay, and it tells you how many enemies you defeated, how many treasure chests you have, how much time you spent in the game. And then your medals are based on your stats. Um, I think that this is a great addition. You get global play data where you can track it against anybody who's playing the game. You globally, it's great. And you get a daily bonus. It's like a spin to win. It gives extra stat. I think these are great additions, and you can also track your amiibos. If you scan your amiibos so many times, it will then give you a bonus. Kind of an extra thing for those of us who use our amiibos. Yeah, if you scan it so many times, you can scan it an additional time during the day. I love that these games are getting the love and care with Switch 2 editions. And for those of us who have these games, if we have NSO with the expansion, it's free at launch. You can go in, get the expansions, and enjoy a brand new Hyrule. They also announced 4 new amiibos of the champions. And now that's more amiibo that is going to have to sit on my desk. So there's that. Alright, so the 3 other games that are getting Switch 2 editions. Kirby is getting improved frame rates. He's getting a new story. This was probably my favorite Kirby platformer. I've played Kirby off and on. I thoroughly enjoy Kirby in the Forgotten Land. So I'm kind of looking forward to this one as well, and seeing what this new story has to offer. It looks really pretty. And then we're getting Metroid Prime Switch 2 edition. This was not a surprise. This was 100% going to be a Switch 1 and Switch 2 title. But we get mouse controls with it, which is something I did not expect. And I'm not a huge first-person shooter game person, but I may pick this one up. We get quality mode and performance mode with the Switch 2 edition, so up to 4K or 1080, 120 FPS. And then Pokemon Legends is getting updated graphics, improved frame rates, which I'm so happy for the Pokemon people because some of those games lag. So I'm happy that they are getting this as well. I want to go into these partnerships because they're amazing. Guys, we're finally getting Elden Ring on Switch 2. And this is a huge get for Nintendo. This would not have run on Switch 1, guys. Not in the slightest. So I'm glad that for those of us who do not have multiple consoles, that we are getting this on Switch, and Switch players can enjoy it to their heart's content. I am not a huge Souls person, but I may finally pick this up and give it a try. Heard a lot of great things about it, so I may dive into it. We're getting Hades too. I know a lot of people have been wanting Hades too. We're getting it. And I'm glad that we're getting it. I know there's a huge fan base for the Hades and anticipation for Hades 2. So this is not something that I have played. I have not played Hades. It's always looked good. I just haven't gotten into it. We're getting Street Fighter 6. I think it's been a really long time since we've had a Street Fighter game um on Nintendo. And this looks really good. Um and it's getting amiibos. Um so I'm great. I'm so excited for this. I know a lot of people who play the fighting games. Um but the list goes on with this showcase. Um and there were a couple big announcements in this direct from partners, and I want to go over those because they were a couple of them were curveballs that both of them were curveballs that we weren't really expecting here. Um, so I want to go into those as well. Um, but we're getting Split Fiction. If you've played It Takes Two, you'll love this. I've heard really good things. Um, out of it. It comes out launch day. And you can game share this and play with another person. It's probably how my daughter and my nephew will play it. EA Sports is coming back. And it's not going to run like crap this time. So I'm excited for that one for the sports people. And then we're getting an updated version of Hogwarts Legacy. I did not get this for Switch just because I knew it was going to run at 30 FPS. I got it for my PlayStation instead. So I'm glad it's getting the update that it can run at a solid 60 FPS. And it's getting mouse mode as well. So I'm happy for that as well. We're getting Tony Hawk. This was a huge get. And I don't think we've had Tony Hawk for a while, if ever, on Nintendo. If we have, it's been a long time. So this was a good partnership for them to get as well. We're also getting Hitman. Now, this is one I haven't played before. A lot of people love this game. Um, so I'm excited to see it come to Switch. I know it's very popular. But with this announcement, we're also getting the announcement of another 007 game to Switch. We haven't had 007 in a minute. So I know this is a game that's right up my dad's alley. He loves 007, loves James Bond. So I'm excited to see how they develop it, how they develop this, and what happens with it. We're also getting Bravely Default on Switch. Now, this is an HD remake, and it looks really good. I've never played it before. So this is one I might pick up. See what it's like. Um, it's got a huge fan base. So I'm so happy for these guys. We're also getting Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. And this is probably why it didn't come over. It wasn't announced in the last Direct because it was coming over for Switch 2. Yakuza is a very popular series, and it's one I have on PlayStation. I just haven't played it yet. So I kind of want to dive into it. It was in the middle of this that we got dropped this trailer. And I don't think any of us were expecting a Legend of Zelda game, Hyrule Warriors or otherwise. But here, Koei Tecmo just drops this trailer for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. And it takes place prior to Tears of the Kingdom. And in the trailer, it even says the events leading up to the story of Tears of the Kingdom. Now, there has already been a lot of debate on whether or not this is going to be canon or not. Because, hey, we had our hopes up with Age of Calamity, and we kind of got let down on that. It wasn't canon. But in a press release, Nintendo said, quote, fans of the Legend of Zelda series and players of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom can experience the thrill of battle and this canonical tale featuring Princess Zelda, King Rauru, and other familiar characters. Canonical, guys. That means this is canon to Tears of the Kingdom. It's amazing. It's coming this winter. This is a day one buy for me, 100%. I will be playing it through Christmas. I don't believe that they were sitting on this and they were just waiting for the Switch 2 Direct to announce it. And now we're getting the story of the imprisoning war. And that fills in so many gaps with the story. So many gaps. We get to see about Zelda's time in the past, what it looked like, what happened. And we get more than the memories. And it already looks like there's more dialogue than the memories. Expansions of that dialogue. There's what looks like new scenes of Ganon. The gameplay looks amazing here, with them using their Sage abilities, and oh, I hope it doesn't lag like Age of Calamity did. And I don't think we'll have that problem with the improved Switch. I'm hoping. 100% I'm hoping. I'm excited to get stories of the sages, find out who they are, for one, because we don't get any information about them in the base game. I have so many high hopes for this game. And I'm not afraid to say that I am a huge Legend of Zelda fan. I've played it since the original Nintendo. My first Zelda game was the gold cartridge that I played at home. And I've played it ever since. It's near and dear to my heart. And I love it so much. But we're going to keep going with the Zelda theme because we're not done yet. After this, we got the NSO announcement. We're getting GameCube on NSO. This effectively shut the door on whether or not we were going to get Wind Waker as a port or not as a standalone. We're getting it in NSO. We're getting it as the GameCube version. I would have liked to see HD come over, but oh, this looks pretty in the updated graphics. I haven't played the GameCube version, but I want to now. We're also getting Soul Calibur 2. This is a great game. It's not one that I played. I didn't have a GameCube, but a lot of people love it. We're getting F-Zero GX. And you can play it multiplayer online. Also a great game for them to have on GameCube. We're also getting games like Pokemon Coliseum, Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem. We can map controllers now, guys. Can I tell you what playing Ocarina of Time was like with a Switch controller? It was horrible. So I'm here for this. After this, we got Deltarune, chapters 3 and 4. And I know a lot of people love Deltarune. They love Undertale. This is a big get for Nintendo as well. This is not a game that I have played myself. My kids have. I have not. They've played it on PC. So this is one that they may play. And it's available launch day. We're also getting Borderlands 4. Now, this is a big get for Nintendo. I have not played any of the Borderlands series. I know it's extremely popular. Again, shooter games are not my cup of tea. But this looks really good, and it's one of those bigger IPs that I'm so glad Nintendo got. Civilization 7 is getting an update. I know it came to Switch. I've heard that it ran horribly on Switch, but it's getting updated graphics. It's getting mouse mode, which is going to make things a little easier for everybody. So I'm happy for that as well. We're also getting WWE 2K and NBA 2K. These are big gets. Again, sports games coming back to the Switch is huge. We're getting Enter the Gungeon 2. This is also another one I haven't played. I don't know if it's one that I will play, but it's coming as well. And then we're getting Starseeker in 2026, so next year. I've heard good things about these games from partners with various systems, but again, they're not ones that I've had the opportunity to play. So I'm kind of excited to kind of get my hands on them and give them a try. But we're also getting Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. This is huge for Nintendo, and I've heard so many good things about Cyberpunk. This is one I kind of want to play. So I'm going to wait for the Switch 2 edition to come out and dive into it. See what I can get into. This one, Square dropping Final Fantasy VII Remake. Guys, this is the reason I got my PlayStations. It's one of the two reasons, actually. I got my 5 so that I could play Remake and Clear Resolution, but also so I could play Rebirth. And I fully expect Rebirth to come over to Switch 2 at some point. But this is huge. This and Persona are the reasons I got um that I got my PlayStation. And I will be happy to play Royal in 60 FPS again. I tried to play it on Switch. I didn't even make it to the first palace. Silksong has been confirmed. But yeah, I didn't even make it to the first palace in Royal on Switch because it kept dropping frames. And another one I would love to see come over to Switch at some point is Metaphor. I think that's a game that with the improvements of the Switch 2 could come over. And I really would love for Switch players to be able to play that. We're getting Rune Factory. We're getting Marvel Cosmic Invasion. We're getting Star Wars Outlaws. Like, these are big games. And I'm excited for them to come over. And then you've got games that were already announced that are getting a release on Switch 1 and Switch 2. Where Raito is going to be Switch 1 and Switch 2. As is Shadow Labyrinth. As is No Sleep for Konami Date. These are all ones that were announced in the previous Direct, but they're getting 2 releases. Fortnite. We all expected Fortnite to come over. So this partnership showcase was amazing. And it blew me out of the water on what IPs they were able to get come over. This collage just right here is amazing. But this announcement at the end of the partnership, no one saw this coming. A lot of us thought it was Bloodborne 2 to begin with, and I'm not a Souls game player, but I know Bloodborne. But it's not. It's a brand new IP from FromSoft. That's exclusive to Nintendo Switch. Exclusive to the Switch 2, specifically. This is huge. That we can get these, that Nintendo can get these exclusives with companies like FromSoft. It looks great. It looks very crisp. It looks very clean. It looks like any PlayStation game that I would expect to come out. 100%. It looks amazing. And I am so happy for those who play Souls games to get a new IP. And I think this is as close as FromSoft could get to Bloodborne without it actually being Bloodborne. Because I'm pretty sure that PlayStation still has that under lock and key. But from what I've seen, this looks like it's going to be a multiplayer, potentially. And I think it really paves the way for these other partners to give new IPs to Nintendo. Nintendo's back in the game, guys. And an exclusive from a company like FromSoft is unheard of for them. And I'm here for it. And I'm excited on what these partners are going to be able to do with this new hardware. Oh, I can't get over the graphics. And the T-Rex. The T-Rex just came out of nowhere. And I love it. I love it. But Sasquatch will come out next year as an exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. And I was flabbergasted. I can't wait to see what else these partners do with Nintendo. But guys, we weren't done because Nintendo had 2 announcements for first party games, and I don't know that we were expecting either one of them. And this was the first one, and when it first started, a lot of people thought it was Smash. But I wasn't sure on that because I knew that Smash was not in Sakurai's picture for a while. But it's a new Kirby. It's a Kirby Air Ride game. A lot of people love this game. Came out 20 years ago on the GameCube. It's getting a new game, and this one is called Kirby Air Riders. And it looks good. It looks so vibrant and pretty, and I love it. I want to get more information on this game. We didn't get a lot in the direct. It is Sakurai's new game. This is what he's been working on since Smash. So I'm excited to see more information about it and see what he has put in the works for this game. But guys, we're going to talk about this last trailer. Because when this first trailer started, we all thought it was Odyssey, or I think I saw some guesses of Banjo-Kazooie, which it could have been. And at first, I thought this was another Odyssey as well, until we got to the shot of Ingot Isle. And then it didn't look so Odyssey anymore. But we are getting a 3K or 3D Donkey Kong. And I'm thrilled. I'm so thrilled for this. I'm here for it. He looks great. He's extremely expressive. He's the most expressive I've ever seen DK. He's getting the 3D platformer that he deserves. And getting the love and care that he deserves. This is very Odyssey-esque. And a lot of people are thinking that the Odyssey team did this game. We don't know that yet. But I'm excited for this game. It looks amazing. And you can dig, you can destroy things. There's 2D sections that are retro to Donkey Kong Country. There's minecart, and everything you do on the map shows up in the 3D map. So like anywhere you dig, it shows up on the map, and you can see where you've been, where you've destroyed, all of it. This is great. It comes out a month after launch, so it's within that launch window. So yes, Mario Kart is a launch title. This is a month after. I'd almost say that this is a second launch title, even though it comes out a month later. So I want to kind of hit on, what's been said about the developers for Donkey Kong. So in interviews that were released today, Bill Trinen was asked about the developer for Donkey Kong Bonanza. And he said, quote, "It's a very good question. You'll have to stay tuned. We always like to start by showcasing the game and getting people focused on the gameplay, but we'll have more information to share about the developer in due time." Nintendo is holding this very close to their chest. They're not wanting to let us know who the developer is yet. But we all have guesses, and the main one is Odyssey, the Odyssey team. It's reminiscent of Odyssey in a lot of ways, and it could be some people from the Odyssey team. We don't know that yet. But either way, it looks amazing, it looks great, and I'm excited to get my hands on this one. We've gone through a lot. We've gone through the games, we've gone through the price points, the specs, we've gone through the politics side of all of this, which none of us like getting into, but here we are. But here are the main takeaways that popped up a lot in the interviews, and I kind of want to close out a little bit on this. In interviews, they stressed that the Switch 2 is the true successor of the Switch, and that it builds on what you love about Nintendo Switch: new features, new capabilities, and new games that take advantage of those capabilities. And I think that's important here. We're looking at the sticker price, and what they're really doing with this new system is taking the things we love about Switch and they're building on them, and they're developing more for it, and they're giving us new capabilities and new things to do with the system. And they've updated it. They've really updated the system. It has been essentially rebuilt from the ground up. And I am happy with everything we got. The other thing to take away from this, and it was pushed on in the direct, especially with the 5-minute section we had on it. The developers, the dev teams are super excited about this camera and chat feature. About us being able to communicate with people anytime, anywhere. And I think for a lot of us, this may have been more relevant during the pandemic, but the Switch didn't have the hardware for it. It didn't have the capabilities for it. But it's relevant now as well, especially since we're getting things like Game Share and various other capabilities. We still have that need for people, and I think Nintendo wants us to see that even though we're not alone, we can still be together in one way, shape, or form. And I think that's important. But I'm super excited about what Nintendo gave in this direct. I'm super excited about the system. We're gonna complain about the price point all the way to the store, but if we want it, we're gonna get it. And we'll have to wait and see what the tariffs do to see how that looks for us. We're not there yet, but we're still kind of in a waiting game. But I am excited for the future. And I am going to say one more thing. I know that people's opinions are not going to be the same as mine. And people are going to think that I'm totally off the mark here. And that's fine. We all have different opinions. We all have different thoughts. That's how people are. But these are just my honest thoughts and opinions. I don't always think Nintendo's right. I'm a multi-platform player. If I don't like how something's going to look on Switch, I will play it on PlayStation. If I don't agree with the price of something on Nintendo and I'm going to get better quality on PlayStation or PC, I'm going to buy it for those other two systems. I will always go for what is going to be better quality for my money. I think that what we are getting with the Switch 2 is great quality and right up there with PlayStation. And I will have a Switch 2. It'll be I'll pre-order it as soon as pre-orders are reopened in the US. But again, take my thoughts and opinions with a grain of salt. But with that being said, I'm gonna leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.